that I talk about a lot is getting people, trying to get people to think about where a job comes from. I make the point, it doesn't magically appear because you need a job that a job appears.
Mm-hmm.
No, a job comes about because there's a business need or that needs to be fixed, or a business opportunity that needs to be realized. So if you can get in and have that open-ended conversation, particularly with somebody at a senior enough level that they can influence the conversation or influence the decision making uh, about, and then they get to know you a little bit better. Partway through that conversation, you may see the light bulb go on above their head as they realize, this guy, this gal may be able to help me to solve this problem or realize this opportunity. And I've seen jobs created for people out of nothing. I've seen jobs modified to fit that person. I've seen jobs elevated because they realize, well, we're pitching it here, but this person can do it at this level and give us so much more value. There's so many opportunities if you can do that, but it takes research. It takes the courage to approach that senior executive. But start with the warm connection. Start with the people you know.
Right.
And
Start
go
with
from
the people you
there.
know. Right. When it comes to recruiters, and a job search, how should these executives approach recruiters after being, let go? Is there a different strategy they should use?
I think there are a couple of things. First of all, you need to think about, remember that Jerry Maguire movie, Show Me the Money.
Right. Yeah.
Follow the money. Think about, how does the recruiter get paid?
Okay.
Recruiters don't get paid for finding jobs for candidates. Recruiters get paid for finding candidates for jobs for their client companies,
Mm-hmm.
or the company they work for. That
Mm-hmm.
could be internal or external. So start with that. But good recruiters, and I've defined good as ones that are smart enough to realize that even if you are not the right person for the job that I'm filling at the moment, you have some really interesting background and skills. I need to have at least a short conversation with you because I want to keep you in my on my list of potential candidates for the future. So that I would start with that. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep talking about that, because I had another point that I just
Right.
lost.
Right.
I'll
That's
come back.
okay. You will come back to it. You may think of it. One of the things that I've sometimes what I do with clients is I ask them, like you said, with the recruiter, you may, at the time, there's nothing, but recruiters do like to keep their little short list, because you're right, there are
Yeah,
some skills that may come, or an opportunity that comes around,
right,
and that kind of helps them with their position. But
right.
I also think that one of the approaches I like with recruiters is I'd like to get to know them, just like another
Okay.
network
Yeah,
person.
they
Um,
are another networking
Right.
contact.
They're
That's right.
another network connection,
Yeah,
so that they know me and, understand my background or what I'm looking for. And that also helps you learn more about the type of opportunities that that recruiter may source for, or,
yeah,
or how the organization is structured, or,
yeah.
things of that things of that nature that could maybe help you, give you information about where you'll fit in
Right.
that organization. So, I know that you're right. So I think well, maybe my second job in human resources was a recruiter. So
Right. Yeah,
many days ago. And that was one of the things that we always wanted. I always did, was I always kept a short list of,
right.
people that, not right now, but I
Mhm.
like this person, I like their background,
Yeah,
and one of my managers could be looking, for someone with this. So I'm going to keep that handy.
Right. And these
And
days, of course, you can connect with that recruiter on LinkedIn.
mm-hmm.
And more often than not, they will accept your invitation because they want, as you say, they want to have that cadre of capable people on their list
Right.
of future opportunities. Yeah.
How do you help a leader decide whether they should pursue a full-time role, a board seat, consulting, or even go on a sabbatical? Is there something you take them through to help them kind of make that decision?
I think in a simplistic way, it's just having multiple conversations.
Okay.
You don't get if you've been doing something for 30 years
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly that rug is pulled out from under you,
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily rebuild that or get a new direction overnight.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's helpful, I think, is to review the resume. I like to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got an executive at the moment, and he's never had a resume, or he hasn't had a resume for years. He can't find the resume he had, so we're building one from scratch
Mm-hmm.
because a good resume, as you know, will incorporate examples of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's results oriented. So being able to remind yourself of the things you've achieved throughout your career under various jobs helps you to rebuild confidence. Oh, I did that, and it had that benefit.
Mm-hmm.
If you can quantify that result, I will challenge people when I review somebody's resume. I will challenge them to say, can you quantify this?
Mm-hmm.
What was the benefit of that? Because often with executives, not so much, but often people will list tasks. I've
Yes.
even seen resumes that have been written by copying in the job description.
Oh,
And of course, that not at executive level typically, but
right.
that that just what that does is tells me half the story. This tells me what you were supposed to do.
Right.
I'd really like to know what you actually achieved.
Right.
So answer the so what question. Why am I mentioning this? What's important that I list that bullet in this resume? And
Mm-hmm.
so show the results. And once you do that, people get they feel better about themselves because they realize, huh, yeah, they remind themselves about what they've accomplished. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about trends. Okay.
Mhm.
Are there any tools or frameworks that you use that help executive clarify what's next?
Um, there are a range of assessment tools that we use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have things like Clifton Strengths, used to be known as Strength Finders,
Mm-hmm.
obviously to focus on their strengths, always a good thing. Myers-Briggs, MBTI and DISC, and there's a range of sort of personality assessment tools that can be helpful to understand. Again, it's about understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's one that I use sometimes that I really like called Career Leader, and it's not as well known. But I think if I hear an executive talk about the fact that their previous role, things changed, the culture changed, and it shifted away from the culture that they enjoyed and flourished in.
Mm-hmm.
That's an indication to me that career leader might be helpful because one of the things it helps you to do is understand what sort of corporate culture brings out the best in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go to a company which doesn't provide that,
Mm-hmm.
then you can at least compensate for that lack of culture of that cultural element and in how you go about doing the job, taking the job.
It's
Uh,
called It's called
Skills like
career
that.
leaders. Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
career
career
leaders.
leader.
Okay.
There's a range of different ones.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you and I have used over the
Right.
years.
Yeah. What trends are you seeing in the way companies are handling executive exits today?
Um, well, I think it does depend on the company. Some companies have a history of never letting people go. You know, they are fiercely loyal to their people.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, at some point, though, um, strong financial reasons get in the way, and they realize they have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it becomes something that they do on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the idea that every month we let somebody go I don't think, is a great basis on which to build a strong culture for the organization, because it's not just about the person that's let go. It's about the survivors.
Right.
Are they going to be mad? If you're let people go and then you're lumping additional work on the people that remain, and they're mad with you because they didn't like the way you let their friend go or their colleagues go,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a good way to go about things.
Good look.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that that's changing. I think it just happens. I did some research just the other day on trends in length of tenure of executives,
Oh, okay.
and it was actually a little higher than I expected. And this is very much overview, but overall, it's about an average of 5 years for
Okay.
people at executive, senior C level,
Mm-hmm.
VP, senior VP level. I thought it was lower than that, but it's gradually trending down.
Mm.
So, we've all been in situations when things are going fine in your job and you're at an executive level, and then the CEO leaves, a new one comes in, and everything gets turned on its head. Um, we may actually be seeing that at a national level at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not being political about that. I think it's undeniable that there's
Right.
been big
Yeah.
change this year.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this year, in terms of, and I'm shifting, in terms of the job market generally, is that even though there's been a lot of turmoil,
Mm-hmm.
it's still there's still job growth. It's not
Oh,
great at the moment, but there's still job growth. I think it's something over 50 consecutive months of job growth.
oh.
Um, but yeah, it's not. So it's not that overall macro view doesn't help you as an individual. It's really about but on the other hand, you're only looking for one job, one opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
not hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've lost my point there.
Mm-hmm. Um, I th what what's one piece of advice you wish every executive heard right after being let go? What's one piece of advice you would wish they'd heard?
Oh, um, I would say, yeah, I think the one that I'd say is take your time to get ready for the job market. Don't dive in immediately and jump into something new.
Okay.
Now, I can say that, but every individual's got their own
Circumstances.
personal financial constraints and so
Right.
forth,
The
and pressures
circumstances.
at
Right.
home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got some financial buffer, which many executives do, they've got a decent amount of severance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to jump into something quickly, but
Mm-hmm.
get yourself ready. Now, the other end of that is don't just go off unless you truly can retire and you're intending to retire. Don't just run off and spend 6 months sailing around the world. I think for most people, getting started, but doing it in a sort of measured,
Hmm.
deliberate way, taking time to decompress from the pressures. The previous job could well have been highly stressful, pressurized.
Hmm.
You were on the go 60, 80 hours a week.
Hmm.
Coming down from that, getting reconnected with your family, with your dogs, whoever else is around in the household, and just getting back to good sleeping habits, fitness habits, eating habits, but also taking gradually preparing yourself in terms of resume, LinkedIn, all of your marketing collateral, being clear about your brand, your value proposition
Hmm.
before you launch into too many detailed conversations about specific jobs.
Hmm.
The other part to that would be, as part of that preparation, make a list of your um, well, you probably know who you would call your personal board of advisors, your
Hmm.
close confidants. Start to have conversations with them, if possible, face to face. Take them out for dinner, sit in the park, sit in the coffee shop. Just talk through what's happened, where you think you're going, and where you need help. And it's not. There's nothing wrong with saying at this stage, I've got some ideas about what I want to do going forward, but nothing firm. I'd love to get your advice,
Hmm.
your opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I think what I would say in response to that question.
Okay. Well, Brian, thank you. This has been incredibly insightful, and I
Okay.
appreciate you taking time. Is there anything else that you want to add in the end? Any advice, any trends, a message that you may have for leaders or executives that about today's job market and being in today's job market going through transition?
I think well, maybe one thing I would say is that it's good to continue to it's not just about the next job or the next gig. It's
Mhm.
about where does this is, and this is the advantage you have if you have the opportunity to work with a career coach and you have some buffer financially to do it. Uh, Use it as an opportunity, yes, to find that next opportunity, but also to think as ahead as much as you can about how does that fit in with the rest of my career path going forward.
Mhm.
It's a really difficult question. Is when am I going to retire, and what even does retirement look like?
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know,
Yeah.
and uh, yes. So, but thinking that through and yeah, and thinking about there's an old sort of mantra in consulting that a management consultant used to think about current state, what are we doing now, future state, where do we want to be, and gap, how do we get from current state to future state. I was thinking about this yesterday that that's really what it's about in terms of your path forward after you've been laid off, is taking stock of where you are, trying to understand where you want to be, and that can change
Mhm.
because the world changes, technology changes, but understanding the gap, how do I bridge the gap? Using a career coach to help you with that is really helpful.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. All of
Okay,
this has been great, 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 wonderful conversation. A lot of good tips and information, and I appreciate you taking the time to be with me today. I
good,
truly.
Marilyn. I've enjoyed it too. Thank you.